we should not move to green energy at all. Or
when you move to green energy, not in Mpumalanga, go somewhere else. Go somewhere else, not here. Go to Cape Town. Give us a benchmark where renewable energy has worked. Komati Power Station has been shut down, decommissioned. Are we having politicians that have an appetite of pleasing the master than the people that voted for them? So we're not the generation that allowed Highfield Steel to close down and they kept quiet and no one said anything. Our children cannot inherit a ghost town. When we are saying that you must phase out coal, you are saying that we are phasing out our DNA. But where was seated? Our government is playing Lucifer on us. It's coming with an evil plan.
Yeah.
We want to survive. Tell Germany to hands off our coal. They failed to implement renewable energy in their own country.
Welcome. We are at Emalahleni, the city of coal. Our guest, Pascaline Nqobile Mazibuko. She has a foundation, Bullet Mkabayi Foundation, that's been advocating for just energy transition. So we're talking those issues here. The world is, all the countries in the world are decarbonizing, basically encouraging industries to lessen the emission of carbon, which is causing climate change or global warming. So no area in Mpumalanga is affected than Emalahleni. This is where most of the coal mines are. 80% of the country's electricity is generated here from coal-powered electricity generating stations.
Yes.
Yeah. So welcome.
Thanks very much, Mr. Sizo Samayende. As you have introduced me, my name is Pascaline Nqobile Mazibuko, better known as Bullet Mkabayi. I have a foundation that was founded, we established the foundation in 2021. At the time, we were dealing with the exposing of corruption that was mainly happening in ISCOM, as well as school placement. That was our focal point. We then had to repurpose our foundation at the past 2 years. Okay. We had to sit back, repurpose, look at the issues that are of the national interest, that are putting us on a global stage or the global platform, if I may say. We then repurpose and we concluded to say the issue that is highly burning and it is silenced is the issue of energy justice. The issue of just energy transition, it's not an issue that was thoroughly consulted. Communities were not engaged.
They were not engaged.
Communities were not engaged.
Not enough.
Not enough.
Okay.
I was covered by email and guidance, Daily Maverick, Oxpackers.
Yeah.
Yes. But in our campaign, we didn't have much support, and we have seen Mr. Gwede Mantashe speaking against the phasing out of coal.
Yeah. To
say, let's rather have a mixed energy than to say you are shutting down coal-fired power stations.
Yeah. Let's talk about your existence. Yeah, we're moving ahead.
Yes.
Of the foundation. What in this space? What are you fighting for exactly? I think people need to understand that Emalahleni exists because of the coal that was discovered here, the mines and the power stations, which are fueled by coal, that are generating electricity 80% of the country. So your foundation, what do you aim to achieve?
What we're aiming to achieve, one, is that we must continue with nuclear energy.
Okay.
Nuclear energy is, Eskom is presiding over a nuclear power station in Cape Town, which is the only nuclear power station in Africa that has operated more than 40 years without any incidents that have been reported or fatalities. So you are sitting with Eskom that is experienced, that is skilled to preside over a nuclear power station.
Okay.
And it's a government entity. We are seated with Sasol that has a carbon capture system that produces clean coal. If the issue is a carbon capture, it's carbon. It's carbon. The emissions.
Yes.
Then you've got two technologies that we are utilizing in the country. They are not foreign technologies. They are technologies that are in the country.
Existing.
Yes.
But what is your fear if it one day a decision is taken that coal must completely be phased out, it should not be used? What is your fear?
We're going straight to poverty. Yes.
So that's what we are trying to avoid.
The value chain linked to the coal economy.
Yes.
It is not only maybe the jobs that we know, but you have a street vendor that is going to be affected. You've got a fuel stations, that are going, the people that are going to be workers that are going to be affected.
Yeah.
Now I want to simplify it so that even a person or understand what we're campaigning against. Or what we're fighting against. My father is a truck driver.
Okay.
Yeah? I'm making an example. And he has a car that he bought through his salary of being a truck driver. When he's on holiday leave, he's utilizing the personal car. And he has salary that sustain the car in terms of maintenance, insurance, and fueling.
Yeah.
The car drives the children to school, perhaps, or to shopping mall, wherever, with the money that is from the salary that he got from
being a truck driver.
He's able to go to ShopRite and buy. So he has a family of 4. They are all dependent on this one. Let's say, for argument's sake, the wife is working at ShopRite.
Yeah.
So the money that he makes, it goes back to the workplace of Nkosikazi. But the moment when there's no flow of the economy, ShopRite will be left with no choice but to close down because there are no customers to buy. So whether we like it or not, there is an interlink between these economies.
Yeah, for sure, because he drives a truck to transport coal from one point to another. That's the main source of income.
There is a fuel station somewhere, Engine, Total, Sasol, whatever, where they have to refill.
True. It makes sense because I was just looking at the jobs that are likely to be phased out. Direct jobs in coal mining, your underground and surface miners, blasters and drillers, heavy machine operators, mechanical and electrical maintenance workers, mine safety officers, etc. Supply chain and support services, what we are talking about just now, truck drivers and coal hauliers, and then the security people, catering, cleaning staff, blah, blah, blah. Spaza shops as well, in the communities, local taxi transport operators, even accountants and procurement officers. Yeah, of course, even other professionals, administrative human resource, payroll staff, and all those kinds of people. So basically, it will be a disaster.
It will be a disaster. Now, the question is, why is our government so adamant to implement renewable energy, something that they don't have skill of? This is where privatization comes in. The companies that are going to be awarded that tender, they're from where? Who knows the system?
Yeah. But before we get into that, yes, European countries mostly have done a lot of work in terms of green energy, developing it. But now you're having a situation where you've got really to choose between letting the earth burn as a result of climate change, and also the issue that we are raising is a very important issue as well, the issue of jobs. What balance needs to be struck?
The issue of climate change is because of the emissions.
Carbon emissions, yeah.
Yes. And an alternative is a carbon capture technology.
Yeah.
It's a carbon capture technology.
Okay, basically we try to continuing, but then we capture the carbon that is emitted into the atmosphere.
Yes. Yeah. And it goes about 150 meters downwards. And then, the carbon. And then there'll be a certain storage. Yes, where it will be stored. So, you have nuclear, which has zero emissions, sustainable jobs, and a consistent power with no load shedding.
Yeah.
Yes. So why renewable energy? It is in benefit of who? Because it's not in benefit of the people.
So do you think it's not going to create enough jobs to replace all those jobs that are in the fossil fuel industries?
No. It's not. At the construction phase, it will create jobs, but not permanent jobs. Nuclear, it's going to create permanent jobs. By 2030, renewable energy, it will have created 25,000 jobs. And how many do we have now? Independent power producers, it will be independently producing energy or power. It means that there will be few operators, but there will be no workforce. That a general worker that is employed now, an operator of a certain white machine, excavators. No, there'll be nothing as such. Okay. But to keep the coal working for us, we need to have a cleaner coal.
Yeah.
Ne?
So
this is where the carbon capture technology comes in. Yeah, you're
basically saying we need to develop technology to reduce the
because it's
the
there. Sasol, it has that technology. It's not foreign to us. It is our technology. It was developed by us, by Sasol. Yes. So I'm saying that we have two technologies that are not foreign and that are a solution to our challenges. Yes.
So basically, you are saying we should not move to green energy at all. Or
when you move to green energy, not in Mpumalanga, go somewhere else. Go somewhere else, not here. Go to Cape Town, not here. Here we find our coal. We'll utilize nuclear. We'll utilize the carbon capture technology.
Yeah.
Yes. Give us a benchmark.
Yeah.
Where renewable energy has worked. Komati power station has been shut down, decommissioned.
Yeah.
Is it successful? No. It's a pilot project. So when we are feeling at the piloting stage, at an aggressive stage, what are you going to do?
Exactly.
Are we having politicians that have an appetite of pleasing the master than the people that voted for them? I don't want to speak about the GNU. The GNU in March, they've approved a policy. It's I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this word correctly, but it's SAREM. Okay. It's South African Renewable Energy Master Plan.
Yeah.
Yes. Which it advocates for privatization and deregulation. So now we'll be buying electricity at a much greater price. And it will not be owned by us. Eskom is just going to be a front.
Okay.
Because, we are bringing a foreign technology that the experts are from outside. When you come into this country, you are coming with maybe skill development, certain program. Even the reskilling program now, it's failing. How many people that were working for Eskom that are reskilled and prepared for the renewable energy?
An industry like the steel industry.
Yes.
It closed down here. It just
in the Highveld. We used to export, but now we're importing from China.
But those people who were working there, did the reskilling work?
No.
Yeah. Are there enough job opportunities, even if you reskill them, but are there enough job opportunities to absorb all of them?
There are none. There are none. So we're not the generation that allowed Highveld still to close down and they kept quiet and no one said anything. Our children cannot inherit a ghost town. When we are saying that you must phase out coal, you are saying that we are phasing out our DNA as people of a coal-dependent community.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm just looking at it both ways. I'm not advocating for or against. Yeah, because other countries, European countries, have been using coal. They were able to industrialize. They have industries, big industries built out of fossil fuels. Africa has been lagging behind. And now comes this period where we need to reduce carbon emissions. And who's affected more? It's Africa again. And at the peak of the fossil fuel industries, who was benefiting less? It was Africa, because Africa is not industrialized as the other countries. So which basically means, this just energy transition thing should be done correctly, I guess.
But how do you do something correctly when it excludes the people? Yeah,
you spoke about we were not consulted enough about another thing.
We are not consulted and decisions are taken on our behalf. There is no person that is saying that can agree to a renewable energy. No one. In Emalahleni? In Mpumalanga? No, there is none. We can never agree to renewable energy. Where else we know exactly that we have technologies that are a solution to us. Yes, we can never. If we're given an alternative, we would agree to say no. Maybe that 80% of the economy, this is where we're going to get it when we shut this one out. Those who are owning trucks, those who are owning yellow machine, the mine owners that invested so much to build their mines, this is how they're going to be compensated, or this is an alternative plan for them. But nothing.
But there's nothing.
There's nothing.
So are you saying that the government came up with this just energy transition program without really coming to the ground here, like in an era like this, where there are plus minus 100 coal mines? How many power stations? The majority of them are here. 90% of them in the country are here. coal electricity generation stations. So you saying they didn't come down to meet the communities and explain this.
You know what is also painful about this process is that we are being left out, and we have powered South Africa and other SADC countries.
Of course.
But we are not taken through. What the resistance to change? Don't get me wrong. But this change must include us. It must speak of our well-being. It must speak about job security. You know, the National Democratic Revolution, it says we are in a second phase of the struggle. If you allow me to quote it, it says we're in a second phase of the revolution, which is economic liberation. Then which economy that must liberate us? Because we are now in a phase where we're owning the means of production. You know, these are the things that we grew up learning and adapting to. These are with clear policy direction that we adhere to say, okay, this is what the government of the day is saying to us. But the very same government that consists of all these political parties, it is not saying anything about the phasing out of coal. Then you ask yourself, these people, who are they serving exactly? Are they pleasing their masters? Or they're here to serve us? And then which alternative organization that our people are going to vote for? Because everyone is in the GNU, but everyone is silent. So we are seated with people that they have an appetite of putting their interests first than us. Wouldn't be, if there was a thorough consultation, wouldn't be concerned and having this discussion here. Because we'd know that our government is a current government. But where we're seated, our government is playing Lucifer on us. It's coming with an evil plan. We want to survive.
But have you reached your conclusion that you've reached that this you do not need green energy? It's because you were not consulted enough. You don't know much about the green energy economy that they are proposing, or what?
When it does not speak of economic stability, then it is an evil plan. It is not for us. You know, when you are saying that you are leading people, it must be you are saying when you are sworn in, you are given an oath. You declare an oath that you'll be truthful, you'll serve what, you know. But when you are serving, and then you go against the oath, you don't even recognize human right. Energy to us, it's not a privilege, it's a right. It's entrenched in the Constitution. So whatever that you do, you must respect the Constitution of this country. And we are going to utilize this platform, your podcast, as we are here, to even lobby potential investors to come forward. Investors of nuclear energy. Investors that are saying that we can be able to fund a carbon capture energy as technology. Yes, we're on that recourse to even lobby investors to say, come forth. Our people are here. If there's any political party that will say to us, we are coming with nuclear, we'll be at the front line to mobilize for that political party. Because it will be speaking to us and our needs. So we are seated here with the hope that our government will listen to us and say, let's rather have mixed energy. But we're going to implement the renewable plan somewhere, not in Mpumalanga. Yes. And that is what we are pushing. And that is what we are campaigning for. So, our our government needs to listen to us. Our government needs to listen to us.
Yeah. So, as the foundation, are you trying to reach out to government just to come here and speak to people? Because it's a policy that is even being pushed in the provincial government as well. Just energy transition.
We have written to the office of the Premier. We wrote to our mayor. We met with him. We didn't agree that the issue of the nuclear energy or the nuclear campaign, it's an issue that needs a very long time for discussion. So we then said we are going to reschedule. But obviously, we are still going to come back to our social media and give update on what we are busy with and the feedbacks from where we attend these meetings. We have written to the embassy of Germany through Mr. Stone, Suzanne, the ambassador to Germany, to say, tell Germany to hands off our coal. They failed to implement renewable energy in their own country. But why do you want to use us as testing labs? You see where our government is taking us.
No, the issue is the trucks are moving all the way to the harbor to send coal to Europe.
There will be
Middle East, China, and so on and so forth.
This is what we said. If coal is not good for us, then it's not good for anyone. We're not subhumans. We're not subhumans. We're human beings. We breathe the same air that they breathe. So, if coal is really, really not good for us, it should not be good for Europe. The mining rights, if coal was that bad, they should have stopped issuing mining rights. The harbors should close. No coal must go outside. But there will be a day where South Africans are going to revolt in protection of our coal. You see, now we see this engineered load shedding. When we stand up, when we rise up, there will be a real load shedding. Because that's where workers, community members, business owners will be saying, hands off our coal. Hands off our coal. But now we're still in a consultation stage. We've written to Amakosi to bring them into speed and for them to understand how this thing, it will affect us, Yes, and maybe now they should have a voice. But I believe if you can interview them, I don't think they will tell you what is happening with the energy issue in our country, in particular in Mpumalanga.
Yeah, because when I'm trying to look at the sort of how this just energy transition in Mpumalanga will benefit Mpumalanga really. Well, they say it provides Mpumalanga an opportunity to diversify, right? From a coal-intensive economy to a knowledge, service, technology-based, and green economy. But there are, I don't see any statistics of jobs that are going to be created. But that's what they are talking about. Talking about also agriculture as well. Well, we know we're an agricultural province. But in your own view, is that enough? That diversification and trying to develop the other industries, will it be enough to replace the jobs that are going to be lost?
Yes, the jobs can never be enough. They can never replace the jobs that will be lost. And when they say we're in agricultural province. The agricultural market is closed. And it has its mafias and owners of the market. We are unable to empower the backyard farmers, small-scale farmers, those who are farming in our schoolyard, those who are farming at the backyard of their homes. We're unable to empower them. And we want to speak of agriculture market. We're playing with our people. It's not practical.
Because, as we were saying already, it should be benefiting people already as we speak right now.
If we were saying that agriculture market is open, currently, we should be...
All those small-scale farmers should be getting enough support.
Yes. But it's all in their head. But practically, it's not happening. So, there are no manufacturing industries that are being established or open. There is no alternative to the economy that they're saying, this is where you're going to get your 63% of the economy. And, it quite surprises me that the speed of which we're moving with, I don't know where we're rushing to, but we should be also, our curriculum from an early age childhood, it is now inclusive of the renewable energy education, You see the campaign or the program, your choice, the HIV and AIDS programs, how it was intensified, how it was run. And at schools, they were talking about it. There were stories about HIV and AIDS, adverts, and they were even telling us how we should live, how we should adapt to the pandemic at the time, But now, we're not even if maybe you're fooling us, but at least have a courtesy to outroll the education program, as you did with other programs. They lack innovative. They're not persuasive enough to us, even if you're fooling a person. But at least be persuasive. Don't show us that you are fooling us. Don't show us that you are after money. You can't just be so bluntly and direct like that,
So you attribute their lack of consulting the communities to the fact that they are not being truthful about...
No, they're not being truthful.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm saying that at least give us one country or one town that has run the IPPs or the renewable energy power stations 100% and people were happy and satisfied. Germany, it's reopening the coal-fired power station.
Because you're making an important point. There needs to be an example of an economy in a country that is run on renewable energy. Is it possible?
China is a developed country. But China is using coal.
Yeah, they're using coal.
Yes.
Of course. And I think they are opening more mines in China. They are opening more mines.
And then with us, with this so little economy, the power station, the nuclear power station in Cape Town, Quebec, if I'm saying that correctly. It's Quebec. Yeah. It's powering about 2 million households. 5% of our power. It comes from that power station, the nuclear power station. Most safest, Eskom is experienced. Is experienced in this field. You're not talking about something that is foreign.
Yeah.
Yes. So, we have written to the ambassador to Germany to relay the message, and also to bring in Germany, because one must be able to tell them that this plan of yours, we don't want it here. Yes, you may be experts, but it's fine for Germany. Implement it there. Why, when it fails there, then you want to come and implement it here?
I do get you.
Or they must try to get a certain planet where they will experiment with.
Yeah.
But certainly not us. Certainly not in Mpumalanga. Tina, in Mpumalanga were fine. And I can tell you, when you go to the ground, our people are going to agree with me. That we're very much fine with our coal. By the way, when the issue is an environmental matter, climate change, you have a Department of Environment that was supposed to monitor these emissions, and when it was hazardous to our earth, then they were then supposed to say, this is what we're going to have a problem with this. Because obviously when you plan a town, you include all these things. When they pass the mining rights and whatnot, there are many things that are considered. But DMRE, Department of Enviro, they never thought that this is going to lead us to this disaster.
But you're touching another point, because we're having another problem again in this Highveld area because of the coal mines, because of the electricity power plants that are using coal to generate electricity. The air here is the dirtiest air on planet Earth. In the Highveld area, this area from Mpumalanga, including Emalahleni, up to parts of Gauteng, which is another problem. I mean, you live here in Emalahleni, of course, you know many people have got
sinuses, asthma,
respiratory diseases. How do we deal with that? Because there is a problem.
You have, I don't know why we have researchers. I don't know why do we have all these laws about the emission standards, and when a company is not adhering to the Emission Standards Acts or laws, and then who should be held accountable, then it goes back to ISCOM, that they're environmentalist. It goes back to the mines. They are people, and the government must then be able to hold them accountable for reaching
those laws.
Yes, they must enforce those laws. That is why we have government, we have the state, right? Is for them to ensure that the laws of this country are observed. But this policy shift of SRM, it's not what we sign up for. It's not what we sign up for, regardless who voted what. But those that are part of the journey, we never send them to privatize electricity. We never send them to deregulate. We never send them to decommission ISCOM. We never send them to privatize your Transnet. These load shedding, the issues of Transnet, those are just things that are frustrations that are man-made to frustrate the economy, to frustrate the mine owners. I mean, if my company was maybe transporting 3 loads a day to Richards Bay, and now I'm reduced to 1 load a day, obviously it will have impact on my company. I will then be forced to casualize workers. I will then be forced to retrench and demob, But and then at the end you will have to close down because you're now working on a loss than to maximize profit. So we're saying that we're here for those companies as Bullet Mkabayi Foundation. We're saying let's hand to hand, shoulder to shoulder, pound to pound, go and confront this evil master plan that is implemented under our nose without our consent.
Yeah. When you look at the decommissioning of Komati power station as a case study of how government didn't do things right, well, what is your thought? Because they were supposed to, they decommissioned it, but they were supposed to come up with programs that were going to reskill the people, make sure that they get alternative jobs in alternative industries. But it didn't happen. It was a disaster.
They are going to reskill.
Yeah.
And they are repurposing.
Yeah. Yes.
Hey, but we've not seen that happening.
The government has even admitted
that it was a premature decision to be taken.
Yeah.
It's good that they agree to these things. But recently they just awarded a former COO of ISCOM a tender of building a storage.
Yeah.
So for the renewables, 9.something billion. A country that does not afford free education. A country that does not afford free education, but affords to introduce a foreign technology that we don't have skill of. Who is going to maintain the solar panels?
I mean, the argument from the green lobby side is that those are the new jobs that are going to be created to replace the jobs that are going to be lost from fossil fuel industries.
By 2030, renewable energy will have created 25,000 jobs. 25,000 jobs.
In the whole country.
Even if we are having 25,000 now in cash, it cannot cover all your needs. And what is 25,000 jobs compared to what we're going to lose now? Who must endure poverty? Those who are owning the trucks, what are they going to transport? Air, wind, sun. What will happen to the truck owners? The yellow machine? Those who are owning mines? What is going to happen to them? What is it that is going to happen?
Yeah.
So our government must start playing games with us. When it comes to issues of bread and butter, icon, you can fool us with the issue of water that the pipe burst. Another thing, we use electricity to pump the water stations.
Yes.
We have a challenge of water now because we have load reduction, we have load shedding.
Yeah.
Imagine when we, in this inconsistent weather, you are coming from Nelspruit, it's hot. When you get here, it's cold. In a one day, you have how many seasons?
Yeah.
You have a very inconsistent weather. Yet again, we are going to use renewable energy. So imagine, let's say we're a province or a country that is reliant on wind and whatnot. Who will be owning those companies? Because the companies that are going to build those renewable energy power stations are privately owned companies.
No, of course they are.
Yes. And remember, we had to take Chinese to come and deal with a certain technology in Gusile.
So it's technology that we do not have in the country. It needs to be.
So they say. So now this one we don't have at all. So we're going to get workers from Germany to come and work in our country. No. There's honestly something wrong with our politicians, all of them combined.
Yeah.
But
course.
If there is an opportunity maybe for the political parties like your EFF, those who are saying that they are for the leftist or they're a left wing, we need to hear their voice. And not only their voice, but we need also them to use their influence.
Yeah, because what I've noticed is that the mainstream political parties have not been loud enough on this issue of climate change, green energy
and whatnot.
Yeah,
it is practically not possible to sustain the economy on with a green energy. It is practically not possible. It's worse when the only thing that our government can do is to just relay good English to us, but they can't give us solutions that these are the solutions. This is how we are going to survive, And there is nothing as a shortage of coal. There's nothing as such. It's a mineral resource. That thing, it grows. You can store it, and it can grow. It matures. So the excuses that we're hearing, they are trying by all means to maybe convince us that there is a shortage of coal. Seriti is closing down because the lifespan of the mine has reached its lifespan. Tungela, this and that, I'm just making an example.
Yeah.
Yes, that. But the program or the project is we must phase out coal. So, we are willing to fight this battle. It is not an overnight battle. It is a long-term battle. But we are willing to fight through negotiation with our government and to bring each and every affected stakeholder into the table, into the round table and engage. So we are going to write to the embassy of Russia as the Bullet Mkabayi Foundation. We have written to the embassy of Germany through our ambassador, Mr. Stone. We are going to write to embassy of Russia to lobby them to support us on the nuclear energy project. Skilling, bursaries, skills development, as well as educational material, Yes, so we that is our next plan. But like I'm saying that we are willing to engage, and to halt this process. We're not in a hurry. They can just wait with their 9.5 billion that they've allocated. If possible, they can channel it to our education. By the way, when Highveld was closed, even Optimum Coal Mine, when it was, and even Optimum, when it was closed, we had our sisters and brothers they had to drop out of school. That is the most important factor as well, that we are overlooking when we are bringing in these challenges. And you have NSFAS that is unable to carry everyone, and you have your...
So if jobs are lost, many people have got to...
So do you see the chain, the value chain that is linked to this economy? How many of us are going to be affected, including a beautician? Because the very same money that we use to pamper ourselves, we get it from the mines where we invoice. We get it from the power stations where we invoice. Yes. So we're on that recourse, and we're very much confident that we're going to win this one. If you can't win it through negotiations, We're going to win it through ballot.
Is it?
Yes.
So are you saying there is a political party on the horizon somewhere?
It will
that
rise.
Will advocate for?
It will rise. It took MK Party less than 6 months.
Yeah, less than 6 months.
Yeah. It will take people from Mpumalanga in the local government to replace any evil government that has an evil plan against the people.
But so far, how old is your foundation? Is the foundation how old?
From 2021, 22, 3, 4, 5, 4 years.
Any small victories here and there that you have scored, or it's total defiance and silence from the government side to listen to you?
Because we have taken a setback for about 2 years.
Yeah.
We have never really ourselves reached out to government like we did now when we are intensifying the campaign. And we said, we're going to only focus on this one.
Yeah.
Yes. Until we reach a certain milestone where we were satisfied to say we can engage with other issues. Yes, we do assist when the students, like there was a case in MRCT of students that were not receiving their qualification. We're able to intervene as a foundation, and that matter is ongoing, but at least the students are receiving assistance. There are those issues that smaller issues, because we have partnered with the GPV organizations. We have health practitioners that when we suspect that maybe someone is suffering from depression, we can step in. But our big and a focal point project now, it's an energy justice campaign.
Is this one, and I was asking in particular on this one, whether there have been, anyone listening to you? No,
like I said, that we have never reached out even ourselves.
Okay.
We have been speaking to media, but now we have written to, like I've said, the embassy of Germany, we have the office of the premier, the office of the mayor. We've written to Kosini. Others is to lobby them to support.
Yeah.
Others is to lobby them to realize that what you're doing, it's going to cost so much disaster in our lives, and to move. I was impressed by the statement of Mr. MEC Thulasizwe Thomo.
Yeah.
That he was advising the global community that you can't phase out coal. Even our premier has been vocal, but because maybe by nature he has a small voice and and is a very calm person, maybe his voice is not reaching out. We've also written to NUM and COSATU.
Yeah.
They've been against this renewable energy plan. They've always been vocal, but the downtrodden, this is where we come in as Bullet Mkabayi Foundation, to mobilize the downtrodden, because yes, they speak, but when maybe Losi Zingisa is sitting in the NEC meeting, does not raise these issues. There was no way if Zongiswa Losi was raising those issues, there was going to be so much silence, I'm not blaming her for anything, but I'm just saying that if the voice of the workers was clear and consistent there, our government would be listening by now. So we're mobilizing COSATU before the end of this month. We would have met with the workers.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. No, that is fine. Hopefully. Well, we'll keep us updated.
We'll keep you posted. This is a Sarasa revolution.
Yeah, we can only hope there's no disaster.
No.
Emalahleni becomes a ghost town.
We are not anticipating even a bloodshed revolution here, but we are anticipating a diplomatic approach through negotiations. Before we take it to the streets. But like I said, if diplomacy does not work for us, then we will be left with no choice but to fight with our ballot.
Okay.
Yes.
Here you have it. But we'll wait for that political party. Green, anti-green
energy.
kind of.
Honestly, we're not growing up to suffer. No, we're not growing up to subscribe to poverty. We're not allergic to money ourselves. We're allergic to good life. We're not allergic to good life. We want good life, want to sustain our kids. We don't want to be under these extreme poorly conditions that we grew up under, living in township where we could not access many things, So, like I've said, we're not a generation that is going to keep quiet when the situation is abnormal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks very much.